If you've spent years believing the fridge is the best place to store everything you eat, it's time to rethink that. It's not your fault. That's what you were taught. You buy something, stick it in the fridge, and assume it's safe. But what no one tells you is that some of those foods, instead of staying fresh, turn into silent traps that harm your health and, in the worst-case scenario, can increase the risk of serious illnesses, including cancer. I'm Gabriel, and today I want to open your eyes to a common mistake that might be costing you more than you think. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about real information that can make the difference between strengthening your body or weakening it without even realizing it. Stay with me until the end, because there's one item on this list that, if you're still keeping it in the fridge, could be sabotaging your health every single day. Number 1. Don't kill what's meant to be alive. Imagine eating something thinking it's nourishing you, when in reality all you're getting is an empty shell, lifeless, powerless, stripped of the essence it was meant to have. We've been led to believe that cold preserves, protects, and equals freshness, but in many cases the opposite is true. Some foods need to stay in their natural state to deliver their full power, and when we stick them in the fridge, we unknowingly destroy them. Take tomatoes. They lose their flavor and antioxidants when chilled. Or honey, it crystallizes and becomes useless when exposed to cold. And the same goes for many other foods that, far from benefiting, actually deteriorate in the fridge until they're worth nothing. Marcus Aurelius said that nature always follows its course, with or without our interference. But we, obsessed with control, often disrupt that natural course, thinking we're doing the right thing. Food has its own time, form, and process, and when we try to alter that with modern habits, we pay the price with our health and vitality. Science backs this up. Cold temperatures disrupt the enzymes and bioactive compounds in certain foods, leaving them inert. A refrigerated tomato is no longer a tomato in its full potential. A fruit that was supposed to ripen on your kitchen counter, if you stick it in the fridge, it stalls, loses its natural development, and becomes a shadow of what it could have been. And the worst part? You eat it thinking you're making a healthy choice, when in fact, you're missing out on its real benefits. The Stoics spoke about the power of accepting nature as it is, without trying to manipulate what shouldn't be manipulated. A living food, with its beneficial bacteria, active enzymes, and intact energy, is what truly nourishes and strengthens. But when we lock it away in an environment where it doesn't belong, we suffocate it, just like a person who isolates themselves out of fear of uncertainty, only to lose their spirit, their connections, and their sense of purpose. It's time to question everything we've accepted without a second thought. Maybe you've been storing certain foods in the fridge for years, just because someone once told you it was the right thing to do. But today, you have the chance to look deeper, to take real control over what you put in your body, and to make sure every bite is an investment in your well-being, not your decline. Because if you thought this was the only mistake you're making with your food, just wait until you see what's next. Number 2, the hidden poison in your oils. In 17th century Europe, alchemists searched for the philosopher's stone, that mystical substance said to turn any metal into gold and grant immortality. They spent entire lifetimes experimenting, mixing ingredients, manipulating nature in hopes of creating something purer, more enduring. But what many didn't realize until it was too late is that in their obsession to improve what already existed, they ended up creating poisons. One of the deadliest was red mercury, a substance once believed to be healing, but which slowly poisoned the body until it broke down completely. Today, centuries later, we're still making the same mistake with something as ordinary as the oils we use in our food. We think storing them in the fridge helps preserve them, protects their essence. But in reality, we're altering their structure. Olive oil, for instance, is a true elixir of longevity when kept in the right environment. But once it's chilled, it thickens, oxidizes, and loses its antioxidant power. In that state, far from protecting you, it turns into a substance that inflames your cells, damages your arteries, and lays the groundwork for silent diseases. The Stoics spoke of the importance of respecting the nature of things. Epictetus said the problem isn't what happens, it's how we interpret and react to it. And here we are, interpreting cold as a guardian of goodness, when in some cases, it's the enemy. Certain oils, when solidified at low temperatures, undergo chemical changes and produce toxic compounds that can contribute to the development of chronic illnesses. Science has proven that oils rich in unsaturated fatty acids, like olive, avocado, and flaxseed oil, need to be stored in a stable, dark environment, away from excessive heat, but also from extreme cold. When exposed to the wrong conditions, their structure becomes unstable, and by the time we consume them, we're putting something into our bodies that no longer offers the same protective benefits. It's like drinking a poorly aged wine, hoping it still tastes and heals like it once did. We've been led to believe that storing always means preserving, but the truth is, some things, when kept in the wrong place, transform into something entirely different. Like a truth repeated so often it becomes a lie. Like a memory that, instead of being a refugee, becomes a prison. Not everything we think is protecting us truly is. And if you think this is the only silent threat hiding in your fridge, what's coming next will make you question everything you thought was safe. Number 3, fruits are meant to ripen, not die. I want you to try something simple. Take a banana and leave it in the fridge overnight. The next morning, grab another banana you left out in a fruit bowl. Compare them. The one that was in the cold will have a darkened peel, but more importantly, what you can't see is that its ripening process has stopped. Its flavor will be different, the texture less appealing, its energy diminished. That's the difference between a living food and one that's been forced to halt its natural evolution. This isn't just a fruit experiment, it's a reflection of life itself. When we interrupt natural cycles out of fear or convenience, we pay a price. Tropical fruits like bananas, mangoes, and pineapples aren't made for the cold. Their ripening follows a process that fills them with enzymes and antioxidants essential for our bodies. But when we refrigerate them, that process gets cut off, and the fruit is trapped in a state where it can't give us its full potential. The same happens with tomatoes and avocados. If you put them in the fridge too early, they lose their flavor and their health benefits are significantly reduced. The Stoics spoke about the importance of accepting the rhythms of nature and life without trying to force what's out of our control. Epictetus said, "It's not things themselves that affect us, but how we perceive them." If we believe cold equals preservation, we apply it blindly, without realizing that in some cases we're doing the exact opposite. Science supports this idea. Fruits need specific temperature ranges to complete their ripening and develop bioactive compounds that boost our immune system. Cutting that process short leaves us with empty foods, stripped of their real power. Let's take this as a deeper lesson. How many times in life have we frozen moments, emotions, or decisions thinking that we're protecting them? How often have we stored something in the cold of fear or doubt, avoiding transformation, resisting the natural course? Not everything is meant to be held back. Not everything should be paused. Just like fruits need time and warmth to reach their peak, we too need to trust in our own cycles, the inevitable changes that lead us to grow. If this message is resonating with you and you feel like you're learning something valuable, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It not only helps me keep sharing this information, but also allows more people to discover it. And let me know in the comments, what country are you watching from? I'd love to know how far this conversation is reaching. Just as a fruit kept in the wrong place never reaches its full flavor, a life held back by fear never unlocks its true potential. The key isn't preservation, it's allowing everything to become its best version. Number 4, the enemy of your microbiota. Imagine you're building an army, not one of soldiers in armor, but a microscopic army made up of billions of tiny life forms living in your gut. This army is your microbiota, the community of good bacteria that protects your health, regulates your mood, and strengthens your immune system. Now imagine that, without realizing it, you're killing your best soldiers every day, weakening your natural defenses and opening the door to illnesses that could have been prevented. One of the most common mistakes is storing fermented foods in the fridge without understanding their nature. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kombucha, pickles, all of them are packed with living bacteria that work to strengthen your body. But when you expose them to temperatures that are too low, many of those bacteria become inactive or die. What was once a powerful probiotic becomes just a flavorful mix, stripped of the healing force it was meant to have. It's like freezing an entire army on the battlefield, unable to fight when you need them most. Science backs this up. Probiotics need a controlled environment to survive and do their job in your gut. Studies have shown that a weakened microbiota not only affects digestion, but is directly linked to inflammatory diseases, depression, and even certain types of cancer. The Stoics spoke about the need to train the mind and body to withstand life's blows. But how can we do that if we're destroying our body's first line of defense from the inside out? I want you to do something right now. Go to your fridge and check how many fermented foods you have in there. Then ask yourself, am I storing them properly? Am I allowing these foods to strengthen me? Or am I unknowingly shutting down their power? If you've never stopped to think about this before, maybe today is the day you start seeing your nutrition through a different lens. Balance in life isn't just about what we do, it's also about what we allow to follow its course without unnecessary interference. Just as the body needs movement to stay strong, it needs a living microbiota to stay resilient. And the next time you put a food item in the fridge, ask yourself if you're preserving its essence or just freezing its power. Number 5. Cancer feeds on moisture. The deadliest danger is the one you can't see. It has no distinct color, no obvious smell, no strange taste. It can be right in front of you, hiding in the foods you eat every day, masked by a layer of apparent normalcy. The moisture inside your fridge creates the perfect conditions for one of the most silent threats to your health. Mold and mycotoxins, microscopic substances that can build up in your body and over time open the door to diseases like cancer. Think of a slice of bread that's been in the fridge for a few days. On the surface, it looks fine, but inside, mold spores may already be multiplying without you noticing. The same goes for cooked rice, cut fruits, poorly stored nuts. Even foods that seem safe can be full of toxins produced by microscopic fungi that thrive in humidity. A study published in the journal Food and Chemical Toxicology showed that certain mycotoxins, like aflatoxin, are directly linked to the development of liver cancer. This isn't fear-mongering, it's science. The Stoics warned about the danger of complacency, our tendency to ignore problems until it's too late. Seneca said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, but he also believed that true wisdom lies in prevention, in seeing danger before it turns into tragedy. In this case, the tragedy is allowing contaminated food to stay in your diet without even realizing it. Think about your own kitchen. How many times have you left cheese in the fridge until a faint layer of mold formed, then just scraped it off and kept eating it? How many times have you found a container of rice with a slightly odd texture and reheated it without a second thought? How often have you opened a bag of nuts, noticed a slightly rancid smell, and eaten them anyway. Each of those decisions, repeated over time, could be harming your body more than you realize. The issue isn't just what happens to the food, it's what happens inside your body. Mycotoxins don't go away when you cook the food. You can't wash them off. They're hard to detect. They accumulate in your system, strain your liver, weaken your immune response, and create the perfect environment for chronic inflammation, the breeding ground for many degenerative diseases. And the most ironic part? We think the fridge protects us from these risks, when in reality, it often just extends them. The solution isn't to live in fear, it's to live with awareness. Know which foods are most prone to developing these toxins. Check what's in your fridge regularly. Avoid unnecessary stockpiling. Learn to spot the signs before they become real problems. Because health isn't lost all at once. It fades slowly in the small details we ignore. And every time you make a more conscious choice about what goes into your body, you're taking back control of something most people leave to chance. Number 6. The false refuge of garlic and onions. Garlic and onions have been used as medicine for centuries. In ancient Egypt, pyramid builders ate them daily, believing they gave them strength and endurance. In the Middle Ages, they were used as protection against illness. Even during World War II, garlic was known as the poor man's penicillin, used to treat infections when antibiotics were scarce. But today, many people make a mistake that strips these foods of their power. They store them in the fridge, thinking it helps preserve them, without realizing they're turning them inert. Garlic and onions need to breathe. They're living foods with active compounds that develop in natural conditions, not artificial cold. When you seal them in the fridge, you alter their internal moisture, allowing mold to grow or causing them to lose their medicinal properties prematurely. What should be a shield for your immune system becomes just another ingredient, lacking its healing strength. Science backs this up. Garlic contains allicin, a compound that's only activated when garlic is crushed or chopped and left to rest at room temperature. Storing it in the fridge disrupts this process, reducing its effectiveness as a natural antibiotic and its ability to regulate blood pressure or fight cancer cells. The same happens with onions. Quercetin and sulfur compounds are affected by improper humidity and cold storage. It's no coincidence that traditional medicine recommended hanging them in dry, dark places, far from condensation and extreme temperatures. But there's a deeper lesson here. The Stoics spoke about the importance of not suffocating what needs to flow, of not creating barriers where nature has already provided perfect balance. Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything that happens, happens as it should," reminding us that unnecessary interference with natural processes often causes more harm than good. Storing garlic and onions in the fridge is a small, everyday example of this. In trying to protect something, we end up changing it and taking away the very thing that made it powerful. Life works the same way. Sometimes we think isolation is the safest option, that avoiding intense emotions or unexpected changes will protect us. But what we're really doing is weakening our defenses, shutting ourselves off from transformation. Garlic and onions are strong precisely because they follow their natural course, because they're built to resist and offer their essence when given the right space. And maybe that's the real lesson. Strength doesn't come from being sealed away. It comes from interacting with the world. Life, like these foods, isn't meant to be kept cold. It's meant to breathe, to expand, and to help us grow stronger from within. Number 7, when water harms instead of heals. Water is the universal symbol of life. Nothing on earth can survive without it. From the ancient rivers of Mesopotamia, where civilization was born, to purification rituals across cultures, water has always been seen as sacred, a source of renewal and balance. But in our obsession with making everything safer, we've made the mistake of manipulating even the purest elements. Storing water in plastic bottles inside the fridge is one of those everyday habits that seems harmless, yet carries a hidden, long-term risk. Cold temperatures cause plastic to release chemicals into the water, especially when those bottles were previously exposed to sunlight before being chilled. Substances like BPA and phthalates, known endocrine disruptors, can interfere with hormone function, increase cancer risk, and weaken the immune system. This isn't fear-mongering, it's a scientific reality. Studies have shown that these chemicals mimic estrogen in the human body, creating imbalances that over time can affect your health in serious ways. The Stoics spoke of the importance of examining every action, of questioning our habits rather than blindly following them. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Applied here, the real threat isn't just the water in your fridge, it's the belief that anything done out of habit must be right. So often, the things that feel normal are the very things doing us the most harm. In Zen Buddhism, there's a concept called Shoshin, the beginner's mind. It invites us to look at the world with curiosity, free of assumptions, open to the idea that what we've always done might not be best. What if we applied that mindset to our diet, our routines, our life as a whole? How many things would we change if we paused to reflect on the small daily choices that shape our well-being? Water is a reflection of ourselves. It can be clear and life-giving or silently contaminated. Just as being mindful of what we drink is essential for physical health, being aware of what we allow into our minds and lives is crucial for our overall well-being. Existing isn't enough. We need to live with intention, with the willingness to question and transform what we once thought was harmless. Because in the end, it's not what goes into the fridge that defines us. It's what we choose to change once we understand its real impact. We've reached the end of this journey, and if you're still here, it means you care enough about your health to question what you once took for granted. Not everything that seems safe truly is, and not everything we were taught to do is actually taking care of us. But now you have the power to make more conscious choices, with greater clarity and with the understanding that every small change can make a real difference in your well-being. I'm Gabriel, and if this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. Here, we talk about what really matters, how to live with more vitality, more awareness, and how to break free from unconscious habits that may be holding your health back. If you found value in this content, your next step is simple. Apply it and share it. Because sometimes, a conversation like this can wake up someone who didn't even realize they were asleep. I want to acknowledge those of you who made it to the end. You're the ones who don't settle for the routine. You're here to learn and grow. If that's you, I want to hear from you in the comments. Write the phrase, "I choose to care for my body," and let me know which country you're watching from. It's a small gesture, but every word you leave here strengthens this community of people committed to living with greater intention. Thank you for being here, for taking this time for something that truly matters. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, pass it along. We never know what seeds we might be planting in someone else's life. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself the way you would care for what you love most.